back to Lawson's Car Reviews. My name's Tristan, and today, as you can see from the thumbnail, I am bringing to you a 2019 Subaru WRX in the silver color. So my preference would be to drive the one in World Rally Blue, but they didn't have that one for me to drive. And the intro is a bit different today because I'm running behind and I won't have time to do all of that when I get to the dealership. So without further ado, let's get to the car review. What's good, YouTube? The hood is really light. Giddy up! If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel and make sure that you hit the notification bell so that you can be alerted of any new uploads that I do, and hit the like because it helps the channel to grow. On with the video. So finally got my hands on a 2019 Subaru WRX, and one of the things immediately that I love about this car is the hood scoop. You've got this big functional hood scoop that feeds air into that top mount intercooler, and you still have the fog lights, which on the new STIs it no longer has the fog lights. So I love the design of this car. I'm really impressed with it. These wheels are just the 18-inch wheels, but if these came with 20s, I think it would make the car look so much better. And it's kind of, you know, it does need a redesign. It's been looking like this for a long time, but the car still looks awesome, especially from the back. Look at that, the rear diffuser and the quad tip exhaust. Now this is just the stock exhaust, so it is not that loud, but it is real exhaust tips. A lot of manufacturers nowadays, you know, they kind of have fake tips. And if I go ahead and pop the trunk, car does come with the nice floor mats. I'll put the trunk size on the screen right now, and just to give you a quick look, the car itself does come with a spare tire. So a lot of cars now, you know, they only have a you know, a kit. But let's take a look at the heart of the beast. This is not the 2.5 liter, it is the 2 liter turbocharged engine from Subaru. As I said, it makes 268 horsepower, 258 foot-pounds of torque, which is decent, but kind of getting long in the tooth when you have EcoBoost Mustangs that make 310 horsepower and 350 foot-pounds of torque. So they do need to up that, but this is still a really nice looking engine bay. Not as nice looking as the STI because there's more plastic, and as you can see here, the intercooler is a lot smaller than it is on the regular STI. But this is a nice entry-level WRX. Very nice car. I wouldn't say that there's too much room in the back if you're sitting behind somebody who's tall like me. I got my seat all the way back. I probably wouldn't fit behind myself. The cloth seats are nice, but they definitely would stain up, and these cup holders here in the back are pretty useless because they're too shallow. So if you're driving with anyone and you take just a minor corner, then things are gonna fall out of the glove out of the cup holders. And then you get the nice aluminium pedals, which is a nice touch. And to my favorite part about the car is, look at the steering wheel. It is beautiful. I love this flat bottom steering wheel and the thickness, the 10 and 2 notches on this car. I love the gauges up here. One other thing that I hate about the car, has heated seats by the way, but one thing I don't like about the car is this armrest is too low. So when I'm leaning on the armrest, I can't really shift gears. Infotainment system is a little bit old school, it needs updating big time. and I'm not really a fan of this faux carbon fiber. But other than that, the car is pretty nice. This model does not have the Recaro seats, which would be nice to have, but you know, beggars can't be choosers. Car's only got 29,000 miles. So let's take it for a spin and see how it does. Let's give it some beans. All right, so finally, sorry about the jacket, it's cold in Missouri. Driving the Subaru WRX 2019. How does it drive? Well, I'll tell you this, the steering wheel feels fantastic. But one of the instant gripes about this car, and if you've watched other WRX reviews, you'll know that there's a lot of slop in the gear shifter. Like when it's in gear, the shifter still wiggles around everywhere. And I'm gonna do a quick video of my Mustang in gear, and I'll wiggle it side to side, and you'll see there's not half as much slop in the shifter as what there is in this car. So I know there's a kit that you can buy to tighten that up, and a lot of people do it. I've seen it online, but to me, that's something that you shouldn't even have to do on a brand new car. I mean, this is a 2019, and the complaint about the shifter being crap in this car is age old, so that should have been fixed a long time ago. But what never gets old, what never gets old is that turbocharged fun. I mean, it's not the fastest car in the world, it's not the STI, but it's still pretty quick. I mean, when you look up the stats on this car, it says that it's supposed to do 0 to 60 in like 5.2, 5.3 seconds. Quarter mile, I've seen varying times, anywhere from like 13.7 to 14.1. So I don't really know which one of those is completely accurate. It's gonna depend on how good you can actually shift the car yourself, because it is a manual, so everyone's time is gonna be kind of different. But let's talk numbers. Horsepower wise, the car has 268 horsepower and 258 foot-pounds of torque. So for a car that doesn't weigh too much, and I'll put all of the statistics on the screen, it's really not a bad driving vehicle, and it doesn't feel slow. It doesn't feel lightning quick, but it's definitely a nice car to drive. I really am digging the turning radius of the car. It's pretty good, and I just like the overall general feel. I do feel like the clutch does take a little bit of getting used to, but obviously that's with any car that you've not driven before and you start to drive. Let's go ahead and test out this this 0 to 60 time. There we go. 1, 2, 3, go. All right, there was 60. So I have to say, with the short gearing, I think because you've got to change to third gear to get to 60, I think that the 0 to 60 in this car is around 5.3 seconds. Let's just compare it to, say, my Mustang. I can do 0 to 60 in that car in, I don't know the time, but let's just say I can do it in second gear. First gear will take me to around 40 miles an hour. Second gear takes me all the way to 70. So the extra shifts you have to make in this car does delay the time that it takes to get to 60. I have also driven, as I said, the Subaru WRX STI, and the gearing in that car is very short. The shifter is a little bit more tight than it is in this car, but the gearing is super short. So you will be in third gear to get to 60 miles an hour, I feel. When you start to get in the high 50s, you can feel that the car starts to lose some power. So it really doesn't want to pull that hard when you're trying to get to 60 in second gear. Now I can tell that the suspension is quite tight, left to right. There is body roll in this car though. So if I was comparing it to the new Camaro RS that I just got, that car in the corners is a lot more flat than what this car is. This car has way more roll when it comes to taking the turns. Now, I know for a fact if you was to upgrade and spend all the extra money to get the STI, that problem is fixed, because the STI has got better suspension, better brakes, bigger wheels. It's got the different differential buttons down there where you can change where the power is being sent to. So remember, this is the entry level, so I'm not expecting it to be some super crazy awesome handling car, but I will say that it does not disappoint. It is more than fast enough if this is like, say, your first manual car that you're driving, and it looks cool, it gets looks all the time. Love the hood scoop. And don't forget, even though it's 268 horsepower, all it takes is a tune or getting a bigger turbo or something else, and you can have a car that's really fast, that's faster than a stock STI. So it definitely is a very tunable machine, up to about 400 horsepower. I heard once you go past that, then the car starts to get a little bit more unreliable. So let me know what you guys think. As I said, this is one of my favorite cars, one of my favorite four-door sedans. I love this car. I'm glad I got to drive it and bring it to you guys today. The gear shifter is there's so much play in the gear shifter. Let me just show you a quick example of what I mean by the gear shifter play. So look, this is the car actually in neutral. This is the car, and this is normal. This is the car in gear. Now watch this. That's in gear. Look how much it wiggles around. That's second gear. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. That's third gear. That's a bit tighter. Fourth gear, a bit tighter. But fifth gear, wiggle, wiggle. So I really don't like that, because it makes you not know exactly what gear you're in. Okay, back in the Mustang, just to give you a quick comparison of what I meant about the shifter. So look, this is mine in neutral. It's not a short throw shifter, there's nothing special. I just changed the shift knob, but look what it does when it's in gear. Do you see that? Almost no play. It's very obvious that you're in first gear. Second gear, very little wiggle. Third gear, little wiggle. Fourth, fifth. Fifth has got the most wiggle, and sixth, but you know, if you was to be street racing, first, second, third, fourth, they're the ones that you care about. Fifth and sixth, I mean, you're probably not going to be in those gears anyway if you was drag racing or something like that, so it's not as important. But as I said, sorry, that was the radar detector going off. The wiggle and the play in the Subaru is pretty darn terrible, and I don't think that people should have to go aftermarket and buy a kit just to fix that. Anyway, on with the video. When I love the turbo sound. There's one other thing that I forgot to mention, which is a huge negative for this car. Everybody, when I was a kid, I used to know that a Subaru was coming around the corner because of that infamous boxer rumble. This car does not have a boxer rumble, because on these newer model Subaru WRXs, the thing that gave it the rumble was the fact that it had unequal length headers. But on the new cars, they went with equal length headers. So the unequal length is what actually gave the car that unique engine sound, that unique exhaust sound. Whereas today, because the headers are equal length, it no longer makes that sound. So if you want the Boxer rumble, you actually have to upgrade and get the STI, because the STI still has the unequal length headers. One other negative about the car, even though it's only a 2-liter turbo, the gas mileage in this is horrible. So I'll put that on the screen, and I'll put the EcoBoost on the screen too, because the EcoBoost is 310 horsepower, 350 foot-pounds of torque, and it still gets better gas mileage than what this car does. And that, to me, is where one of the downfalls of this is. But anyway, thanks for watching the video. Comment, like, and subscribe. Let me know what other cars you'd like me to review, and I will see you in the next one.